The storm didn't come from the sky. Asterisk, it came in armored vans, unmarked cars, and the echo of boots on New Orleans streets. Asterisk, on Wednesday morning. A single DHS announcement sent shockwaves through one of America's most culturally rich cities. A city famous for jazz, for parades, for soul. Suddenly found itself caught in a clash between federal power and local identity. Asterisk, they're calling it. Operation Catahoula Crunch. A name that sounds more like a military assault than an immigration strategy. And in Louisiana, this operation is doing something no hurricane ever could. It's dividing the state from within. Asterisk. Because while New Orleans stands by its sanctuary city values, Baton Rouge, led by Governor Jeff Landry, is throwing the door wide open for federal agents. And Landry isn't whispering about it. He's celebrating it. Louisiana will not be a refuge for violent offenders. So that's his message. Simple, hard, absolute. But behind those words, a very different truth is unfolding on the ground. Asterisk, New Orleans is one of the most diverse cities in the country. Latino families, Vietnamese neighborhoods, Caribbean communities, thousands of people who built their lives here. Many have lived in the city for decades. Their kids go to school here. Their businesses feed the local economy. Their culture is part of what makes New Orleans, asterisk, and now. They're scared to leave their homes. Asterisk, parents are keeping their kids from school. Asterisk, shops are closed in the middle of the day. Asterisk, workers are calling out because they're afraid they won't come home if they step outside. Asterisk, all because federal agents are sweeping through the state, targeting a list of 5,000 people they plan to arrest. Asterisk. But here's the twist that's igniting outrage. Crime in New Orleans is going down, not up, not surging down. This year, the city is on track for the lowest number of homicides in nearly 50 years. Asterisk, non-fatal shootings, burglaries, assaults nearly all trending downward. Asterisk, so the question everyone's asking is simple. Asterisk, why launch the biggest immigration enforcement sweep the city has seen in years? At a time when crime is falling? Governor Landry says it's about safety. Mayor-elect Elena Moreno says it's about fear. Community leaders say it's about politics. And in the middle of all this, the police, for years. The New Orleans Police Department operated under a federal consent decree, the result of a long history of corruption, racial profiling, and unconstitutional practices. Part of that reform required the NOPD to keep its distance from federal immigration enforcement. Officers weren't allowed to help ICE, unless there was a direct threat to life or a judicial warrant. Asterisk, that policy was designed to protect immigrant communities. Asterisk, to ensure families weren't terrified of the very people meant to keep them safe. Asterisk, but now, that shield is cracking. Just 2 weeks before Operation Catahoula Crunch began, a federal judge ended the NOPD consent decree. And suddenly, the state's top Republican officials saw an opening. Asterisk, Louisiana's Attorney General, Liz Morella, loyal Trump-alicent, a letter urging NOPD to fully cooperate with ICE and Border Patrol. And she wasn't subtle. Her message was basically, help them, or face legal consequences. Asterisk. Because in Louisiana, refusing to cooperate with federal immigration agents isn't just frowned upon. It's a felony. City leaders are pushing back, but their power is limited. They're trying to slow down the machine, to complicate ICE's operations, to protect their residents any way they legally can. But the state is pulling in the opposite direction, hard. Asterisk, and for immigrants living here. Those who are naturalized citizens, the fear is real. Asterisk, take Alfredo Salazar. Asterisk, he's been in the United States almost 30 years. He's a citizen. He pays taxes. He contributes to his city. Asterisk, and yet, just weeks before this operation began, ICE agents stopped him in a home depot parking lot. They put him in the back of a car. They questioned him. He showed his papers. And only then was he let go. Asterisk, he says that today. In New Orleans, It feels like a crime to be Latino. Asterisk, that's not a slogan. That's not politics. Asterisk, that's a man describing the reality of his daily life. Asterisk, and here's the part. That should make everyone listening stop and think. Asterisk, this isn't just happening in New Orleans. Asterisk, this is part of a larger nationwide escalation. Los Angeles, Chicago, Minneapolis. Asterisk, major cities with major immigrant populations are being pulled into the same political tug-dash of war. Asterisk, a war between states that want strict enforcement. Asterisk, in cities that want trust, safety, and community cooperation. A war between two Americas, with two visions of what safety actually means. In Chicago, they created ice-free zones to keep federal agents away from city property. Asterisk. Activists in New Orleans are demanding the same thing. And at a recent council meeting, protesters were dragged out by police as they shouted for the city to protect its residents. It's a city divided, a state divided, a nation divided. But underneath all the political speeches, the executive orders, the sheriff battles, the consent decree fights, the biggest impact isn't on the politicians, asterisk. It's on the families now living like there's a storm outside, asterisk, except this time. The storm isn't wind and rain, asterisk, it's fear, and it only hits certain homes. Here's where you come in, asterisk, if you're watching this. The next part is important. Asterisk, stories like this disappear fast. Attention moves on. News cycles shift. And the people living through these operations get forgotten, asterisk. But you can help change that. Asterisk, share this video so the story doesn't stay buried. Asterisk, subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of what's unfolding across the country. Asterisk, and drop a comment. What do you think is really driving these enforcement sweeps? Asterisk, because whether you agree with this crackdown or think it's a political weapon, your voice is part of this national conversation. Asterisk, and trust me, asterisk, this story is far from over.